Today, the Turkish lira hits a new low. TikTok is accused of spying, a weight loss drug is approved in the UK, and Saudi Arabia further upends the sports world. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 7th of June, 2023. On Wednesday, Turkey's currency, the lira, plunged 7% to a record low against the dollar in what's been described as the biggest daily sell-off since a historic crash in 2021. In the weeks following President Erdogan's re-election on May the 28th, the lira has been under serious pressure and has fallen rapidly, hitting 23 against the dollar today. In fact, Goldman Sachs had said last week that it expects the lira to fall to this level in the coming 3 months. So their forecast became reality a lot sooner than expected. It all comes as Erdogan has been reassembling his economic team post-re-election. Last week, Erdogan appointed well-respected former Minister Mehmet Şimşek as finance minister, a post he previously held from 2009 to 2015. Şimşek's appointment signals a likely return to a more conventional economic policy after years of Erdogan's unorthodox approach of cutting interest rates amid high inflation. Following his re-election, Şimşek told a press conference that Turkey has no choice but to return to rational ground. Nevertheless, Şimşek will be treading a very fine line, according to Uğraş Babdus from the Centre for European Policy Analysis, who added that the appointment is good news for markets, but it's worth remembering Erdogan has already fired 2 deputy central bank governors who opposed his unorthodox views on the economy. Despite Erdogan's shake-up of his finance team being largely welcomed by foreign investors and observers, the value of the lira continues to sink for a few reasons. Many analysts see the lira as still being overvalued and think it's falling back to a fairer level. Turkish authorities have been defending, or in other words, propping up the lira by reaching into Turkey's reserves of foreign currency, which have been significantly depleted as a result. Finance Minister Mehmet Şimşek says when handling the economy, price stability will be our main target, adding that reducing inflation to single digits in the medium term is of vital importance for our country. For more on this subject, we recently put out a full video on the state of the Turkish economy since Erdogan's re-election over on the TLDR News Global channel. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine, or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. Today, TikTok owner ByteDance has been accused of allowing the Chinese government to access data of Hong Kong civil rights activists. This news came from a US court filing, in which a former ByteDance executive called Yanatao Yu found that users who uploaded protest-related content were identified and monitored. For their part, ByteDance refuted this claim, saying that we plan to vigorously oppose what we believe are baseless claims and allegations in this complaint. In an attempt to discredit their former employee, ByteDance said in a statement that they never raised these allegations in the 5 years since his employment for Flipgram, a now defunct app that was being worked on by ByteDance, and was terminated in July 2018. His actions are clearly intended to garner media attention. However, in the filing brought by Yu, he claims that the Chinese government was given super user credentials, also known as God user credentials, which allows them to view all data collected by ByteDance. He also claims that CCP committee members were present at ByteDance's company office in Beijing. This case comes amid worsening hostilities towards TikTok across the world, with Montana becoming the first US state to ban the Chinese-owned app. So that's what's been happening with TikTok today. Let's move and discuss what's been happening in the UK. The UK government has today said that new drugs that can combat obesity, known as appetite suppressants, could be a game changer, with them allocating £40 million to a pilot scheme to try and increase access to these drugs. The National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, or NICE, gave approval for some of these kinds of drugs earlier this year, but they made clear that this should only be available through specialist services. The government has claimed that this requirement means that only around 35,000 people are able to access the treatment, which is where the pilot scheme comes in. Its purpose is to try and find how the approved drugs can be made available to more people by expanding the specialist weight management services outside of hospitals. Speaking about the benefits of these drugs, the Prime Minister said, "Using the latest drugs to support people to lose weight will be a game changer by helping to tackle dangerous obesity-related health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes and cancer. Reducing pressure on hospitals, supporting people to live healthier and longer lives, and helping to deliver on my priority to cut NHS waiting lists." There's been a shock in the golfing world after the PGA Tour abruptly announced that it would merge with the Saudi Arabian-owned Live Golf venture, ending a bitter dispute between the two organisations. Last year, the Saudi-backed Live Golf Tour launched as a competitor to the US-based PGA Tour, which is the world's largest professional golf organisation. Thanks to the immense money pumped in by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, Live Golf was able to lure top golfers away from the PGA Tour by offering the likes of Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and others vast amounts of money to join the breakaway league. Unsurprisingly, the PGA Tour was not happy, and the two organisations have since been embroiled in rival lawsuits. But this has all come to an abrupt and stunning end. The PGA Tour announced that the two entities would merge their commercial businesses to create a new for-profit company. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund will inject billions into the new entity, whose board is set to be chaired by Yasser Al-Rumayyan, who already chairs the Saudi Investment Fund and the State Oil Company. PGA chief Jay Monahan, who will be the CEO of the new body, acknowledged that some people will call him a hypocrite, but said golf would be better off together than apart. The merger is the latest move by Saudi Arabia to work its way into the world of sport. The country's wealth fund owns English Premier League side Newcastle United and has lured or is luring world-class players like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi to join domestic Saudi teams with hugely valuable contracts. The move has been criticised as sports washing, or in other words, trying to shift focus away from the country's poor public image over things like human rights abuses. In the final uplifting story today, we discuss solar panels in space. Scientists have recently discovered how to double the efficiency of a lightweight solar cell. This is important because they claim this could be used to create solar panels designed to be used in space. Speaking about this new technology, Professor Jarawala, who is one of those involved in the creation of this technology, said that the weight of 2D TMDC solar cells is 100 times less than silicon or gallium arsenide solar cells. So suddenly, these cells become a very appealing technology. That's all we have time for on YouTube, but the briefing isn't over. That's because we explain why thousands of Brits were on the verge of losing their citizenship in the extended, ad-free edition of the Daily Briefing, only on Nebula. That's the streaming service we're building with a bunch of our creator friends, many of whom you're likely to be already watching. That means that by signing up, you not only get an extended ad-free daily briefing every single day, you also get to watch exclusive and ad-free videos from the best educational creators on YouTube. That's things like Real Life Law's incredible Modern Conflicts, which breaks down contemporary disputes around the world, Neo's Underexposure, which beautifully dives into complex and shadowy topics you've always wanted to know more about, or Extremities from Wendover Productions, which uncovers some of the world's most remote places. All of these are only available on Nebula, just like our extended daily briefings and a whole bunch of other exclusive TLDR content which never comes to YouTube. If you want to sign up, use the link in the description so that they know you came through us. That helps us out a whole lot, as does watching on Nebula more generally. So thanks for signing up, and we'll see you on Nebula.